All right. Bye, darling. Take care.
Bye, Penny.
The new big TV reality show sounded like an exciting challenge. Would-be contestants first had to give up their homes, houses, flats, whatever, their jobs, and even their relationships for a whole year. They had to be prepared to travel the world performing various tasks for that year, and an enormous cash prize was at stake for the winner. But when the happy and now homeless chosen ones arrived for the very first day's filming, snag number one emerged. The producer, one Nik Russian, not his real name, confessed that he didn't actually have a channel signed up to transmit the show. Suspicions that all was not well began to grow.
I've been given all these false promises, traveling around the world, contracts, had to get medical certificates, give up my flat, give up my job. I was told to do this, and I was going to be provided with accommodation, leisure money, financial structure, and I've just found out that that does not exist. And I want to query, and I've spoken to Nick on a personal level, and he's told me that everything else is secured, so I'm just very, very angry, and I want to actually speak to him and find out what the hell is going on.
I think the best thing, should we go and sit down together?
Yeah, let's sit down, because I'm just...
And despite everything, I think this is the moment to stop.
That was the producer that wasn't. Snag number two emerged when the contestants discovered that the actual rules of the game were a bit different from what they'd expected.
Okay, what is their challenge? Their challenge is to basically make £1 million. Simple as that. They have empty pockets. They are starting completely from scratch, and they can do anything they want. They can make this money any way they choose.
You are kidding me. You are absolutely kidding me. How the hell are we going to do that? I was like, if we could make £1 million, why would we be here? We're going to make £1 million.
Maria figures out what's going on.
So we've got to make our own money then, basically. We've got to make our own...
Each team must make £1 million to win 100,000 each.
Oh my goodness me. And then by this time, other people were turning up, and I was like, go on, tell them.
You're kidding me.
I'm not kidding you. They said
You are kidding me.
Remember, they'd given everything up to be there. And snag number three was that the producer was obviously a fraud, and when tumbled, promptly did a runner. With us now, swindled and still smarting, we have Maria Stavridis. Is that the right pronunciation?
Yes, that's
right.
right.
Okay. We have Daniel Pope and Debbie Driver. Hello all. Well, commiserations. I'm really sorry. Although it's, you know, no one's died here.
No.
But it was a big deal on the day when you found out. Didn't you actually track him down and threaten to beat him up?
Not exactly threatening to beat him up. I had to restrain myself a bit. We did finally track him down. He was held up in Richmond. Got in contact with him there.
But he gave you very... I mean, he didn't apologise much, did he? Just very inadequate.
He just tried to push the blame onto someone else, as if he was not responsible for this, as if he was just onlooker in this whole thing and he wasn't responsible.
Let's get this clear. This guy was a total Walter Mitty. It was like, I don't know, my milkman pretending to be a television producer.
Exactly,
He had no claim on this at all.
No, he'd never done anything before. He'd never produced anything at all, but that's not what we were led to believe when we were sort of doing research into the company. He told us that they'd done a few things for Channel 4, and we were told that this show had been commissioned by Channel 4,
Yeah. And so, just tell us how you all got together. You answered advertisements, didn't you? They were in newspapers?
In the stage and newspapers like that, entertainment sort of newspapers.
And the ad was fantastic new reality TV programme, going anywhere in the world for a year. A £100,000 cash prize, and it was meant to be nothing like all the other reality programmes, Big Brother, Castaway. It was a new concept. It was just going to be the biggest thing ever.
The catch being, though, that you were all separated into teams of 10.
That's right.
You had to make your own million.
And
then
which we didn't know about.
And then that £100,000 was the divvy up from the
million that you made. So you made your own prize money?
Yeah, you gave yourself your own prize money.
Bear in mind, we didn't know about this prior to the launch. We thought we were going to be set tasks, and then on successful completion of these tasks would be allotted a percentage of the ratio of what we did.
If you completed 100% of your tasks, you'd get 100,000. If you completed 50%, you get 50,000.
I see.
No one was told that they would have to be making their own prize money, because if you did, you just stay at home and do it in the comfort of your own home.
You signed a contract, didn't you? That was my first reaction when I first saw those clips we've just shown was, didn't you sign anything? But you did, I know.
We did sign a contract, but it was on completions of the second part of the contract and the third part, and when we turned up, they were non-existent, so it made the whole thing void.
And what he said to you when, as well, when you arrived there and told that you got to make £1 million. Each team had to. You had also assumed naturally, and indeed you may well have been more than assumed, you may have been told that although you weren't supposed to, the initiative was not to have any money with you. You were travelling with your passport but no money. But travel prices and food prices and accommodation prices would be paid.
Yep, we had that in the advert.
We actually have paperwork that says you will not be able to take any paid employment that conflicts with this during the show. Because of this, arrangements are in place to provide food, accommodation and leisure money to all contestants. So you think a year paid for, and at the end of it, I'm going to get 100 grand.
Hang on, and what was it? Go on, Judy.
Let me say one thing. In fact, didn't you have to actually say that you wouldn't use your bank accounts for the course of this year?
Yes. Yeah, we was.
And didn't the producer? Wasn't he supposed to have access to them?
Yeah, in the second part of the contract, it said the teams were to open up their own bank accounts that maybe he would foresee.
That he would have an authorised signatory on as well as us.
Yeah.
And would also be a signatory
Now,
on
Sonny Jim has done a runner.
Yeah.
And you don't know where he is. What was in it for him? Was it access to your bank accounts? Was he just on a power trip? Was he playing a mad fantasy game?
I think he's a fantasist, a complete fantasist who really thought that once he'd got 30 people to give up their whole life, accommodation, jobs, everything else, once he'd got people to do that, they could then, they wouldn't walk away. They wouldn't say, say, oh my gosh, you've conned us out of sort of food and accommodation. You promised us food and accommodation and we're not going to get it.
Well, I should emphasise that the access that under the contracts to the bank accounts that you'd opened wouldn't have been your old bank accounts. That you couldn't have touched them. This would have been the new ones where you would have been depositing money that you would have been making if this thing had worked. Go on.
No, we said to him, how can we open up a bank account? We have no fixed address, we have no work. How on earth are we expected to open up bank accounts?
Doesn't make sense.
No.
Well, the key question is, I mean, there are lots of you, but you three, did you get your jobs back and did you get your homes back?
Luckily, personally, I gave up my job. I work part-time. I'm also a student of my MBA. I postponed that for 1 year and I gave my flat up. As luck would have it, I got all three back in the end after spit groveling, but
so
you got it back.
So you're wiser, but not ruined.
Well, I gave up a room in a rented house and then I came back and now I'm actually now going to be going back to live with my parents as a result of it. But, you know, I didn't own a place. I didn't give up a place.
And Debbie?
I was renting, obviously gave that up in my work. I'm still living with my mum as a result of it, but that's really good anyway, because it's been nice to spend time with her. But my work is now in a different area. So I've just started again.
Well, the documentary, the great thing is that the footage that was shot, you've turned it all the way around, and the documentary about how this scam happened to you is being shown tonight on Channel 4?
Yep.
That's
what
right. 10:35.
You do get to see yourselves on the telly.
Yeah, you did get on
But other contestants, beware. Listen, we have to leave that tonight. Tomorrow, we're looking at getting a new face for Christmas, the latest non-surgical facelifts you can get during your lunch hour.
And the greatest skateboarder in the world, Tony Hawk, is with us live. See you tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.